Alright, so day 2 of shooting with the FUJIFILM X100VI, and today I wanted to focus on low light photography kind of and bring you to the streets of Omotesando to test out this camera in low light and showcase what it can do, showcase a bit the noise, the grain, and yeah, pretty much see what it can do in the streets at night. So let's go right into the streets and let's shoot. So in the last video, some of you commented that yeah, the X100V was not really pocketable and that the X100VI either, and you pointed out the fact that okay, I put it only halfway through my pants pocket, which was true, but it's because I was, you know, holding a camera while walking, etc. So just to show you again how pocketable it is, that's my pants. Here I can just grab it in there, you know, put it in very easily. It fits in. So I don't know if you have a small or big pocket. For my pocket it works fine. If you have a jacket pocket, it works fine as well. So yeah, and that's me with one hand. So yeah, pretty pocketable, pretty easy to move around with, and very easy and good in hand, so you don't feel like it's gonna fall. I don't even have an attach right now for it. I'm just walking around with it, and just when I'm done, just putting it in the pocket and walking around more. So yeah, pretty pocketable. Now, the last time I used this camera, I was shooting in JPEG, but this time I'm trying to shoot in RAW, and I'm going to try to play with those files, because I think Capture One now released a latest version which actually supports the X100VI. So yeah, I'm looking forward to play with those files as well, and maybe try to apply my presets to see if they work on them. And if you like the pictures that you see, those presets are available on my website, so have a look there. From the limited test that I've made, so far the autofocus seems to be pretty sticky. I haven't compared it yet with the X-T5 pre-update, right? Because there's a new firmware update with those improvements as well, and also the touch to track feature. But so far, with what I see from the X100VI, it's pretty sticky, and the lens seems to also be good and follow when it comes to the focus itself. So that's good news if you are worried about that. Of course, I'll make more tests in a future video where I will really focus on testing the camera and the focus features, and I'll show you a bit more of the results. But so far, yeah, so good. Now, of course, there are some instances here and there where the camera somehow detects a face where there is no face. That sometimes happens, but overall, it sticks. Alright, so yeah, my GoPro camera died on me right now, so I guess that will be it for the street photography part. But let's talk a little bit more about the camera itself. So one more impression that I would have about the camera is the difference between the EVF and the screen. When I look at the EVF and the screen, more than the other camera that I have, like the X-T5 or the X-H2S. I don't know if that's something particularly, I have no idea right now, don't quote me on that. I don't know if the screen is the same quality as X-T5 or X-H2S, but the exposure difference between the X100VI screen and OVF/EVF is much more how to say, drastic. There's a higher contrast on the EVF and OVF than on the screen. The screen is a little bit less contrasty, and the exposure difference appears way less, but there's nothing that is like, oh, it's terrible, I can't use it. That's not the case at all. Now today I did also feel the lack of battery, right? Because this camera was sent to me as for trial. I only have one battery with it, and well, my GoPro battery died before it, but it only had 20% battery left. And so far the way I set it is that instead of lifting the particular dial to change my ISO, I like to just set the ISO to C and then just use the front dial to set the ISO. That is a much more comfortable use for my particular way of working, because lifting the dial every time, especially at night, right, where you compensate a lot with your ISO depending on the situation where you are, whether they're more or less light, is a bit time consuming, so I prefer doing it that way. But overall the experience so far very good to use it. If you're familiar with Fuji, there's no big surprise there, especially if you already used an X-T5 or something like that. It's easy to use and you'll feel right at home. And to answer one more question that I got in the comments in the previous video, I do believe that the accessories, the lens accessories that are used on the X100V should also be usable on the X100VI, because it's pretty much the same lens that they use, right? So if you have an accessory, I don't see any reason why it should not be usable. So rest assured that, yeah, you should be able to use the same accessories there. Alright, so let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll see you for day 3 with the X100VI. See you there.